So yeah, security is a huge topic with mobile, taking care of those data stores. I think that's a great challenge for a lot of companies, and Mark's doing a great job with that. Our next presenter, also on the the topic of security, is one of the first people to put together cloud with secure file sharing. The company is called Thru, and Thru is solving the challenge of secure enterprise file sharing and collaboration by working with Rackspace and our managed cloud. And here's a little video on Thru. I will not touch it. There you go.
Platform for transferring files, securing files, auditing their movement. I founded Thru back in 2002, and it was the culmination of a couple of companies coming together as the cloud was being formed. Thru disrupted the managed file transfer market by bringing the first cloud-based managed file transfer service to the market in a very secure way. Coming to Rackspace is an absolute no-brainer. The customer support at Rackspace, the custom configurations that we have at Rackspace, the flexibility of all the products at Rackspace, the people at Rackspace. It is a people company. The Rackspace security model is a perfect fit for Thru. Rackspace is a 27001 ISO company. Thru is a 27001 ISO company. Rackspace is a big public entity, so we know they're going to stand by everything they do. You know, I can think of a lot of different times that Rackspace has come through with us directly impacting a particular customer. This particular customer was experiencing some poor networking out of our control, out of Rackspace's control. But we were able to instantly move all of their data closer to them so that they got a low latency performance. They went from a few megabits a second to 20 megabits a second on their downloads. They were very, very happy, and it happened instantly because of the Rackspace architecture that we have. It was amazing. If we'd have been in any other provider, we'd have been weeks trying to fix that problem, and we fixed it instantly at Rackspace. What Rackspace offers as a managed hosting facility allows us to focus on our core business. Rackspace may not be the most inexpensive, but Rackspace brings the highest value of any service provider in the industry. It's a no-brainer.
So please welcome the CEO of Thru, Lee Harrison.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yes, you can. Okay, let me get a selfie right quick, everybody. There we go. Okay. Oh, turn the camera around. Come on. Ah. You photobombed me. Well, now I'm going to post that to Twitter. And there it goes. What did I just do? I created a file, and I moved the file. There's tons of that going on. And it's just going to get worse. Mark Andreessen said in 2011 that software is consuming the world. I subscribe to that. Software is consuming the world. And the product of software consuming the world is what? Consume, we get files, that's an output. So that's just going to get more and more and more. So in 2002, I founded Thru to help companies manage this massive amount of data and to give them access to this data anywhere, anytime, any place, on any device. Thru's a platform, service-oriented architecture. You can access through our out-of-the-box plugins. You can access through a number of different protocols that you're all familiar with. Thru is also accessible through our API, REST, or SOAP web services. We're a .NET stack, so we're a SQL shop as well. Gartner covers this extensively, so if you want to get with the guys over there, they've named us a cool company. We've been in the MFT quadrant as a visionary. I expect to see us in the MFT quadrant for Enterprise File Sync and Share this go-around. The guys that cover us are Benoit Leroux, Monica Beso, Jeff Mann, Jeff Thompson. Just check us out with those guys. We're 100% focused on the enterprise, so we have no free users on our system. And we're in about 170 countries, and we do billions of transactions annually. We were the first company to actually build a file transfer tool into Microsoft Outlook, and we have the deepest and most complete Outlook plugin. We were the first in Salesforce.com. We were the first in SharePoint. We were the first, and one of the few remaining in Lotus Notes. We offer a 100% uptime guarantee. We give you your money back if you're not happy with what we're doing. So far, I haven't given anybody their money back. We cover all the mobile platforms from A to Z. And we have a very unique, flexible deployment options, on-prem or mixer of on-prem and in the cloud. And I won't kid you, we're mostly in the cloud. We probably wouldn't get to stand up here today. We're globally deployed. Thanks to Rackspace, we put together our global file transfer network. We're in every one of Rackspace's data centers, and we've developed our own IP on the back end to move data faster than real time. We call it mirroring, but it's really sort of based on jumbo frames from about 20 years ago. So we look at the route path, we change the frame size, we break files up into smaller chunks, and we flood the pipe. But we do it over IP to try to get the effective round trip time down. We think this gives us a 4x advantage over most of our competitors. I just thought I'd throw a few slides up here from organizations that we support. We mainly support software companies. Probably about 60% of our business is software companies. But we cross all verticals. A lot of times, you in this room may be using a Thru component and not know it when you're transacting with, say, ExxonMobil or Vocera, but it could be hidden because we do 100% customization if necessary. So I thought I'd talk about a couple of use cases. And since VMware is a sponsor of the event and they're a customer of ours, I thought I would talk about VMware. VMware Thru is installed as the back-end component for the VMware Communities portal that's managed through Rackspace, Salesforce.com Communities. Thru does the heavy lifting in the background. We directly integrate into their Salesforce stack, and everything that a customer service rep does when it's related to files in and out of Thru is actually recorded in the case log inside of Salesforce. Now at Manhattan, which is a local company, they have two implementations of Thru. The first implementation is very much like VMware, except they use our out-of-the-box Salesforce plugin. Manhattan wanted to stage data across the global network so that they could get a low latency transfer to their customers. That's why the network exists, so that the closer you put the consumer to the data, the better experience they'll have, either up or down, especially over long, fat networks. So the customer service rep can go into Salesforce. Based on the geo of the support case, they can push or pull data to or from that customer to the closest data center. The second implementation at Manhattan was an FTP replacement. Their FTP server was on-prem. It was problematic, and they have an SLA back to their customers. And in fact, we have to subscribe to that same SLA and give them a quarterly uptime review on that. What we did for them was we put their customers on the Thru cloud in Rackspace. There's 700 or 800 of those guys, and they bidirectionally communicate with Manhattan across the cloud. Now they wanted to have that data on-prem, so they had wireline access to it, wire speed access to it. So we mirror the data from the Rackspace cloud to a Thru instance at Manhattan on-prem. All of the identity management is handled in the cloud through a partner onboarding scheme, and it's all approved back at Manhattan. All the folders and files that a particular customer has is quarantined in that customer area, but the customer actually manages their own identities. So it solved the problem of managing thousands of identities by Manhattan for their customers. The customers now do that themselves. HKS is the 5th largest architectural company in the world. They're in my backyard. I'm from Dallas. They built AT&T Stadium. It's a $1.2 billion Jerry Jones project. I know you guys all love him. They moved about 3 terabytes across the system. 3 years, no breaches. And they loved it, and I got to collect money from Jerry Jones. But seriously, HKS is globally deployed. They're in 24 different offices. They use Thru as a project management tool. Because of the virtual file system that's part of Thru, they actually store all their data in there. They have 10,000 users on the system. They have almost 50 million files and folders in the system. They access it mainly through our Outlook plugin, which is, as I said earlier, is the deepest integration into Outlook. So we have a side panel in 2010, 13, and we'll have it in 16, where whatever you're subscribed to as a user, you can see those files in the virtual file system actually in your side panel, and you can drag and drop inside of Outlook. Nobody else has that. You can also archive directly out of Outlook, archive the emails to projects, or you can drag and drop emails or attachments directly into the file system and never leave Outlook. HKS has helped us develop a lot of that technology, and they're a great partner as well, so I always bring them up at these sort of events. I know you know who these guys are, Visa. So this is a secure, purely a secure file transfer play for these guys, but they needed a particular thing. They wanted to know if they take a 4 or 5 gigabytes worth of data and they send it over to a partner to do work on it, they want to know when the last bit has landed at the partner side. They want to have that notated in the log, and they actually want to have a notification of that. So we already had that out of the box. They now use the system to move about 1 terabyte a year. And it's all 100% secure for those guys. The promise of the cloud is something that I've been talking about for 10 or 12 years. It's sort of a concept that there are 3 things that you should expect when you go with a cloud vendor. One is the economies of scale that you get from going with a cloud vendor. Multi-tenant environments, shared infrastructure. I think you guys probably know all of that. But I think what people get sideways on is maybe the upfront cost doesn't look like it justifies moving to the cloud. What we really need to do as professionals, we need to do complete ROIs and total cost of ownerships, and we need to take it out at least 5 years to know that the cloud is where you need to be. I'm not saying that's 100% going to fall onto cloud. That's why we offer both. But we have a lot of customers come to us up front and say, you know, I really want to put this on-prem. I don't think I'll get the money out of doing it in the cloud. By the time we finish with them, 95% of them move to the cloud because they just see the true value of that over time. Infinite scale is something that, yes, you can do it in-house, but it's very difficult. Obviously, when you're in Rackspace, and we've been in Rackspace, IBM, NTT, and we love Rackspace, they have these servers ready to go. If you need to spin something up, as you know, you can spin it up instantly. We can go horizontally on our application servers as fast as they need to be spun up. That's not that easy to do on-prem. And fastest to market is you're buying a complete ready-to-go application, so you should expect that to solve your problem, and it should be plug and play, and you should have it. If it's complex, you have it in a few days. If it's not complex, you have it in a few minutes. It depends on what you're trying to do. If there's customization, you're still fastest to market because you're customizing an existing app. And what I've added to my theories on this is that it's now safe. It is. You can now trust the cloud. We're not hearing of any breaches in the cloud. In fact, the data tells us there's just as many attacks on the cloud as there are on-prem, but there's more break-ins on-prem. So the evidence today says it is safe. Lee McMullen, the VP over at Gartner, says the cloud's inescapable, and it should be your default choice. We talk about mobile first, you should be talking about cloud first. Now, whenever you're looking at a model for a vendor, or a cloud-based vendor, or especially in the sharing and data movement, I put together a little chart where I think you should look from any vendor. First, you want to look at the data center. In this case, I think most of you are probably Rackspace customers, so you know what they have in there. So environmental controls, multiple UPSs, multiple generators, 2 primary power feeds, physical security, has to be bio and things like that. You want to look for the best firewalls, intrusion protection, monitoring of those intrusions, monitoring of those attacks, alert systems, things like that. But then when you dig into the application, your core business objects should have explicit authentication. The databases should be encrypted. They should have SQL injection protection, SQL protection. And the databases should be isolated in some cases. You might want an isolated database. You wouldn't want to be in somebody else's database. I'll talk more about that. The file system itself should have an access control list. It should be encrypted, and it should absolutely have virus protection on it. So now that you've decided to move to the cloud, move your file sharing service to the cloud, I thought I would put together a couple of slides on how to choose a partner. First of all, don't limit yourself. If you look at a vendor and they say, we are limited to 2 gigs or we're limited to 5, what if you need to move 10, 20 in a go? You may not need to today, but you're definitely going to tomorrow. It's coming. We're just on the tip of all of this. So you can expect those limits mean they have limits somewhere else. Are they limited by the number of files in the file system? Can you do 1 million files in one folder? Can you do 1 million folders? You should ask them those questions. Do they scale? Can they put application servers, as I say, horizontally forever? Can they do that? Also, does their interface scale? If you have 10,000 users, 100,000 users in the system, can you manage those? Is their application scale to where you can manage those? Also, a basic need is customization. If they're unwilling to customize it to fit your business, you're probably sacrificing something to fit their business. So I invite you to ask those questions. Now, here's the non-negotiables when choosing a vendor or a partner. Virus checking. Does the vendor do virus checking? And I don't just mean the headers. I mean the entire file from header throughout the body with the latest stamps. If they don't, walk away. Free anonymous users, if they have free users, that means you're paying for that infrastructure. That means that they're logging into the same screen you're logging into. They may be in your database and they're trying to break in all the time and you don't know where they are or what they're doing. So walk away from that. Do they log every action in the system? Not just logins and logouts, but every transaction that happens in the system. Deletes, moves, cuts, pastes, everything. Should be logged in the system and retained in the database forever so that it's immutable and you can prove it up in court if you need to. Do they have end-to-end encryption? I think this is a no-brainer, but you want to check. You want to make sure. You want to, what vendors are they using? Are they using Vormetric like we are? Do they have security groups and roles? Security is, if it's really tight security, it's impossible to use. If it's no security, it's easy to use. There's a compromise in there somewhere. But if IT finds it easy to administer security, they will administer it. They won't just leave it flat. It's a service, so check the SLA. Dig into it, find out what they're offering, find out if they'll let you modify it to your needs for your business. If they won't do that, if they won't negotiate the SLA, they probably are so rigid, you're going to have to adjust your business to them. Why do that? Pen testing. Will this vendor allow you to do a pen test at will? Will they share their recent pen test? Can we all use a third-party pen test, or do you want to do it yourself? But they have to let you do it. Offer database isolation. Not everybody offers that, but think about it. If your database is isolated and there's a breach, and if it's your database, it's probably one of your employees or one of your partners, which is the typical breach. It's limited to you. And can you get a custom URL and your own IP address? If they can't find you, they can't break in. So let's set up for success. Look at their track record. See how long they've been in business. Take a look at their balance sheet, their P&L. Look at their partners, like Rackspace, obviously. Check out their customers. Get references. Talk to the customers and see if they like the support they're getting. Grill them on the support. But make sure customers say support was great. Do they cover the globe? You may not be a multinational today. You may be in 2 or 3 countries. But you need to remember that there's different rules for data in other parts of the world. So safe harbor is different over in Europe than it is here. Look at their certs. And do they have global certs? Are they globally aware? For security, obviously, ISO 27001 is very important, but also things like G-Cloud. Now, these things are expensive, and they're hard to maintain, but they're benchmarks and pedigrees that tell you that these partners really care about what they're doing. So, I got my selfie. Check us out. We're built for the enterprise. Security is at our core, and we're supporting global enterprise customers every day. Thanks very much.